Gen 9 has come and delivered us some scarily cool Pokemon in terms of ghost types. But cool designs aren't everything, so let's put them to a test and do a hardcore Nuzlocke with them. Thankfully, the best starter in this game is Fuecoco, and it does evolve into a ghost type eventually. I hear ghost types love to come round ruins, so I decide to go check some out, but none are to be found. I then make my way to South Area Province 2, where I can climb the watchtower and we can find a Gimmighoul. I end up catching it and giving it the nickname of Mario. And now we've got a ghost type, the old Bowser that we've got has to go in the box. After this, we make our way to South Area Province 3, where we manage to find a Charcadet. We manage to catch it in one of the Great Balls we found, and we give him the nickname Waluigi. We then make our way to East Area 1, but unfortunately the Pokemon we find is Shuppet, who happens to be level 19. This means we won't be able to use it for a while. We catch it in a spookily floating Pokeball and give it the name Daisy. Now, before we challenge the gym, we need to update Gimmighoul's moveset. He's got an incredible special attack and pretty weak attack, but the only moves he can learn are actually Astonish and Tackle. This means we need to rely on TMs, therefore I go and grab the Power Gem TM, as it's going to be super effective against the first gym leader. Relying on one Pokemon is risky though, therefore I need a backup plan. I finally can find a Ghastly in South Province Area 1. I end up catching him and I give him the name Boo. Now, will it be enough for us to take on the first gym leader, being Katie and her bug types? I make Boo use Payback for about quarter health. Her Nimble then hits us with Struggle Bug and it does nothing, but the reason we didn't lead with Gimmighoul is this lowers the special attack. We repeat this until the Nimble does go down. We actually only take about 7 damage this entire time. Against the Tarantula, I decide to use Hypnosis, forgetting about the insomnia, and as a result, I get hit with an assurance which nearly takes me out. Obviously, we can't be keeping Boo in, therefore I decide to switch into Mario. My very first turn, I decide to set up a Reflect. That's because he only knows physical moves, and I want to survive as long as possible. Mario's incredible special attack means Power Gem nearly one-shots, and that means that obviously we're going to take it out on the next turn using yet another Power Gem. We then have her last Pokemon being a bug terrestrialized Teddiursa. The Teddiursa takes about 50% from my Power Gem. She uses Fury Cutter and the damage is... The very next turn, however, she manages to hold on with a Sliver, so I must have hit a low roll. However, with her incredibly weak damage, we don't have to worry. The very next turn, we can just finish her off using one last Power Gem, and that is the first gym over. We then have the second gym leader, Brassius. Unfortunately for Brassius, though, he is a grass-type gym leader. Now, Ghastly is half poison type, and I've gone and got the Veno Shock TM. That means that I only need to use 4 attacks, and I take all of his Pokemon down. And that puts us a quarter of the way through Victory Road. We can then make our way to South Area Province 5 and run into a Sandygast. We catch it and give it the nickname Goomba. We can then head on to South Province Area 6, where we run into a Sableye. I think a fitting name for that is Yashi. I then make my way to the Asado Desert, where we run into a Bramblin. We catch him and call him Luigi, but unfortunately he is 1 level over the level cap currently. Iono then decides to use us for some clout for her stream, and I was originally going to make a joke that she should have picked someone with over 10k subs, but you guys have got us there. Thank you very much. Now, Iono's team is actually quite stacked for so early in the game, especially when you consider her Miss Magius. This thing's Terra into Electric, and its ability Levitate means it has no weakness once it does so. If you can't beat him, join him. You can find Miss Magius in South Province Area 4. We catch it and we give it the name Wario. Obviously, Wario isn't quite strong enough to be taken on Iono yet, so we give it a Duskstone to evolve it into a Miss Magius. Well, I've done all the preparation that I can. Let's finally get on and battle Iono. I lead Mario, who gets hit with a Spark and paralyzed. However, I thought about this. I equipped a Cherry Berry before we began this battle, just in case they got in the way. I retaliate, doing major damage with a Power Gem. The following turn goes the exact same, apart from the fact I get to avoid the paralysis this time, and the Wattrel obviously goes down. She then has her Luxio bite us, and it nearly takes us out. I use this opportunity to go for a light screen. Mario's done his job, so now we're going to switch him out, and we're going to bring in Goomba. He does get hit with a bite, but it's not going to take us out. I can then take advantage of terrestrializing and get rid of my ghost type to make the bites do less damage. It also makes sure my Bulldoze is strong enough to one-shot the Luxio. Her Belly Bolt uses a water gun, but thanks to the light screen from before, it doesn't take me out. It also knocks me into the range of eating my Figgy Berry to get some health back. I can then Bulldoze it down to half health. It hits me for some good damage with another water gun. That ends up being no use for it though. We can take it out using a Bulldoze on the very next turn. I know I can't take a Hex at this point, point, so I decide to switch out into Yoshi. Even with it being neutral, it does a lot of damage though. I then decide to use Detect on the first turn I'm in because I want to bait out a move. I now know it's going to use Confuse Ray the next turn, and that is exactly what it does, and I can risk a confusion because Sablei's attack is actually pretty weak. Since the last one's run out, I set up another light screen. With that done, I decide to bring Yoshi back in and send out Wario. The Hex on the switch in does about a third. I know Mystical Fire and I can use that. The main reason for this is it lowers special attack, making her Hex do less damage. I then use one more to lower her special attack more, but this time she can't see a kill, so she uses a Confuse Ray. Now, I don't want to risk hitting myself, therefore I decide it's time to switch out. I'm also getting low on light screen, so I choose Yoshi. I decide to use a Detect just to waste a bit of Hex PP. She then confuses me again, but thankfully we managed to break through and set up yet another light screen. And that means that we can switch Yoshi out yet again to bring in Wario. This allows me to use another Mystical Fire to get it to -3 in special attack as it goes for a Confuse Ray and confuses me. At this low health, it really isn't worth staying in, as if I hit myself and get Hexed on the same turn, I'm likely to be taken out. Therefore, we'll just switch to get rid of it. I Detect again to try and waste a Hex PP, but it does use Confuse Ray on us, so that was kind of pointless. It confuses me yet again with yet another Confuse Ray. However, luck must be on my side as I don't hit myself, and that allows me to get off another light screen. Now, I know that we need to bring Wario in yet again, and this hit makes it so it gets knocked into the range of eating its Figgy Berry. However, I must have read my natures wrong as I get confused. And with that, it's not worth staying in. This time, we're going to switch into Daisy, who manages to shrug off a Hex. It does manage to hit us with a Confuse Ray, confusing us, but thankfully, we don't get hindered by this, and we can get off a Will-O-Wisp burning it. This way, we're at least getting a bit of damage while we're stalling. It's time for Wario to come on in again because it's got one more thing it needs to do. I have it use a Scary Face to lower the speed of the opposing Miss Magius. I've been counting the hexes and they're all gone. Therefore, it's time for us to bring in our Goomba. Danger, high voltage. Sorry, it's too shocking, eh? I decide to switch out because it can't hit me, so I'm expecting it to use a Confuse Ray. However, I called wrong. For some weird reason, the AI wanted to use Charge Beam against me. It does do some decent damage as well. At this point, though, it doesn't really matter. I can use one more Shadow Sneak because it's low enough thanks to the chip damage from the fire, and Miss Magius is taken down. It was a long one, but that's 3 gym badges obtained. We can then go just outside Zapapico, and we're gonna run into a Sinistea. We catch it, and we give it the name Donkey Kong. The level cap is now high enough for Boo to evolve into a Haunter. Now there's a load of Sinistea about. It's time to crack some pots. Sorry, Donkey Kong. I can then decide to trade the chips I got off the pots and get some malicious armor. And this armor is exactly what we need to finally allow Waluigi to evolve and gain his ghost typing. It's then time to take our Tumbleweed for a walk. And he enjoyed the walk that much that he decides to evolve. Now, regarding the Titans, I've actually skipped past the other two because quite frankly, the battles were quite boring and we got past them with ease. But we've got to give credit to Orthworm just because of how cool of a Pokemon it is, so let's get into it. I lead off using a Mystical Fire, doing more than half HP to it. It retaliates with an Iron Tail. Oh no. Orthworm has absolutely terrible attack. I never foresaw Wario going down here. I didn't bother to do the calcs because I thought it would be such an easy battle. And with that stupidity, that does mean we've lost not only our first Pokemon, but one of our strongest at this point. I can use Hex with Boo, and we do finish the Orthworm off. I've won. But was it worth it? I suppose one upside is it meant I could get a sandwich. Thank you, Wario. You've made sure we've been fed even in death. Bowser now gets up to the level where he can evolve into a Crocalor. After this, we have the 4th gym leader, gonna be Kofu, and his water types. Well, that was incredibly easy. It seems we've taken him down and got the 4th gym badge with ease. With that, we can move on to the next gym leader, and that gym leader is gonna be Larry. However, he's a normal type gym leader, and as you can see from his team, his first Pokemon basically can't touch me. Therefore, I start off by switching Luigi out into Waluigi for his debut, use Sword Stance to max out my attack, and wait until he's out of Sucker Punches. Flame Charge in order to get my speed a bit of a boost and take the Kamala out at the same time. I get a crit against the Dunsparce, taking it out, but I was expecting a glare there, so I had a berry equipped just in case. Staraptor's Intimidate lets it live a turn, but its aerial ace isn't strong enough. This means it sealed its demise. I just need to use one more Night Slash and this Staraptor finally goes down. Who'd have thought 2 gyms in a row were as easy as that? But there's no time to rest now. Nemona is wanting a battle and she's wanting one now. This battle is also the reason I decided to lead with Luigi, as I wanted him up front for this battle. Now, I did think it was a grass Terra type, so I made a mistake here and Terastallized, becoming a ghost. This means the bite still does amazing damage. Luckily for me though, I do manage to hit my Bullet Seed 4 times, and that means the Lycanroc is taken out. The next Pokemon that she's gonna send out is gonna be her Gumi, therefore I decide to bring Luigi back in and send out Yoshi. Now my Sableye ability means it goes second, so we get hit with a Dragon Pulse, and it crits, killing us. Now, you having the stall ability was a shame. There's no way you would have been slow without it, and unfortunately it's cost us your life, Yoshi. We were gonna put up a light screen, so maybe we would have lost anyway, but still, it's such a shame to lose you. Boo can hit the Gumi with a Hex for some pretty good damage on the turn after, but she rubs salt in the wound. She gets yet another crit, knocking me low. Luckily, I'm faster. This means Boo can finally put this tyranny to an end and take down the monster. I don't want to lose anyone else, therefore I switch Boo out for Goomba on a Thunder Wave, which doesn't affect him. This poor mode cannot hit us. This means that we can take it down just using 2 bulldozers. Whoa, a critical hit right when it counts. Looks on your side for sure. You sarky little... You seriously think you can mock us for a crit just because you killed my Sableye with it? Shame on you. Goomba is a goner if we keep it in here. Therefore, I decide switching to Waluigi as his fire does resist the grass attack. The next Flower Trick does manage to hit me pretty heavily and it knocks me down to just 7 health, but I decided to use Flame Charge. This is super effective, it does more than half and ups my speed. Now that means that I'm faster, I can finish it off on the next turn. We finally put an end to Nemona, and she deserved every second of that demise. It's then time to go on a Gimmighoul killing spree. While collecting, I managed to run into a female Snorunt. I catch it, and it gets the nickname of Rosalina. I instantly give her the Dawnstone, and that's gonna make her evolve into a Frostlass. And now Gimmighoul is at the point where it's ready to evolve. Since we got all the coins, it can evolve into the Cheese String Man.
Hey, I'm just cheese.
I then run into a Mimikyu in the Tag It Thick tree. I then end up catching it and we give it the name Peach. Then, because someone couldn't stop it evolving, I end up getting traded back by Boo and it's already a Gengar. And at long last, our trusty starter Bowser can finally evolve into Skeledirge, and that gives him his Ghost type. Daisy then evolves into a Banette and Goomba becomes a Palossand. Now it's time to see who's the best Ghost Trainer out there, as we've got to take on Rhyme. Not only is it a gym battle, but it's a double battle as well. I decide to use Peach and Shadow Sneak into their Mimikyu in order to break the disguise to allow us to take it out on the next turn. Rhyme then doubles up into me using a Shadow Sneak with her Mimikyu and a Sucker Punch on the Banette. It does a lot of damage, but I do manage to survive. And Mario isn't too happy about that. He goes for a Shadow Ball into the Banette, and the Banette is a goner. Rhyme's crowd then gives us a stat boost, and I'll tell you what, that's ruined it for her. Her Mimikyu isn't quite strong enough to take us out, so we can survive. Peach decides it's the one and only, so Shadow claws it out of here. And Mario's Shadow Ball is more than enough to take down a Houndstone. And her last Pokemon Toxtricity is slower than us. We get one Shadow Claw off with Peach, and it is gone. Rhyme's annoyed and kicks us off the stage, so I take this selfie to spite her. I then had a really cool strategy against Iron Treads in where I would use an air balloon so it'd go for a ground attack against me but couldn't hit me. But it only wanted to attack Scovillain, so we won the fight with ease. We then have the Tulip fight with her and her milk mustache. I decide to lead with Bowser. I can get a Torch Song off against the Girafarig. It decides to retaliate with a Crunch, but doesn't do as much damage as I was expecting. Unfortunately for it, on the next turn, I do take it out because that last one upped my special attack. Espathra is faster than us, so we can't stay in. I decide to bring out Mario as I'd equipped him with an Assault Vest before this battle, so he can take a couple of hits. Using this up special defense, he can obviously survive another Shadow Ball off the Espathra, and he can retaliate with his own, which is going to take it out. I don't quite manage to take out the Gardevoir as it holds on a Slither, and then it manages to hit us with a Psychic, not only doing a bit of damage, but lowering my special defense, which sucks. Obviously, on the next turn, it's gonna go down to a Shadow Ball. However, because my special defense is lowered, I can no longer stay in. Without that lower, I'd have been able to survive, but I can't. Therefore, we bring in Waluigi. I do end up resisting the Moonblast thanks to my fire typing. I then use a Shadow Claw on it, and although I do crit to get the takeout, it would have just meant another turn had I not. There's no chance she could have taken me out, so it'd have been free anyway. And with that, we are almost done with the gyms. For some reason, my Miraidon decides to switch colors as we slide on into the end game. And now we can finally face the final gym. One that should be easy because it's an ice type. I didn't even bother leveling up. Oh no, it's faster than us and it got off a Tailwind. This isn't good. I am going to take it out with a Torch Song, but now all her Pokemon are going to be faster than me. I genuinely didn't realize a couple levels would have this much of a difference on the speed. The Beartic gets off a nasty Earthquake against us. Obviously, normally it would be much slower, so we'd be able to take it out with ease. We do one-shot it still, but obviously it's knocked us low now. I decided to switch out to Mario because Mario can tank the liquidation, whereas Bowser 100% would have gone down to it. It goes for me with another liquidation, but obviously it's not doing much to me. I can retire it with a Power Gem, which does about half, and finally the Tailwind has petered out. That means we're going to be faster again. Because it looked like it was just under half, I decided to go for a Shadow Ball just in case the stab would give me it. Unfortunately, it still survives, so it hits me with another liquidation. Thankfully, on the next turn, this chunky bugger is finally going to go down as we manage to beat it. Her last Pokemon is Altaria, and it tanks a Shadow Ball well. Unfortunately for it, though, it misses a Hurricane, meaning I take no damage. I come to my senses on the next turn and use a Power Gem against it instead of Shadow Ball. This time it does hit its Hurricane, but the Hurricane does very minimal damage. My next attack does leave it on a sliver, so had I not used Shadow Ball the first turn, we'd have taken it out. However, it misses another attack, so it didn't matter anyway. Obviously, on the very next turn, this Altaria does not stand a chance and we finish it off, and that does mean we've beaten all the gyms. I then take this time to evolve Donkey Kong into a Poltergeist. I then decide it's finally time to start taking on Team Star, but literally the only thing worth any note is the fact that they couldn't confuse me with Confuserate, hit me with a Magical Talk the next turn, and managed to get the confusion off. I just thought that was a funny encounter. Dondozo was incredibly easy because we have a Grass type. Tatsugiri couldn't take our Mimikyu. Therefore, we've managed to heal our Arvenstog. He's a lot better, and I'm a lot happier because of this. And with that done, let's move on to the Elite Four. The first battle is going to be against Rika. I lead with Luigi. Luigi's going to set up some spikes to get rid of some of the sturdies down the line, and he's just going to use a Future Sight against us. Luigi's done what he needs to do, so we switch him out and bring in Donkey Kong, who manages to avoid the muddy water that was coming right for him. I then have Donkey Kong use a Shell Smash. This is going to up my speed and both my attacks, but lower my defenses. However, we don't need to worry. I decided to equip a White Herb. The White Herb means on this one turn when we've used it, we will get our defenses returned to normal. We then get tag teamed by Wishcash's Muddy Water and Future Sight, but it doesn't even knock us less than half health. I can then get to +4 special attack by using a Nasty Plot. I can then get a load of health back by one hitting the Wishcash with a Giga Drain, giving me almost full health again. The Dugtrio comes out. We're faster thanks to the speed boost, therefore we might as well use one more Giga Drain to make sure we're on full health. And from here, it's game over. She literally cannot do anything. We're faster than all of her Pokemon. We got spikes up to get rid of Sturdy, and we one-shot every single one of them with a Shadow Ball. And with that, we should move on to the next Elite Four member, being Poppy and her Steel types. I lead with Peach because we can use Charm, and this will sharply lower the attack of the Copperaja. Plus, we've got our Disguise. That means that we can take a maximum of 10% damage when it hits us this turn. I was also a bit cheeky and stuck some leftovers on, so we only take half the damage we were supposed to. And at this health, we should be safe to carry on, use another Charm. We get Heavy Slammed. Even a crit wouldn't have been able to take us out there. There's no chance we take another one, though. Therefore, I decide to switch into Luigi because he takes a Heavy Slam like a champ. I have him do the exact same as he did last time and set up some spikes. And then we can bring Waluigi in. Thanks to the charms, we take no damage at all from that Heavy Slam. I decide to set up a Swords Dance, and he finally realizes that I've been switching a bit. Maybe I should use some Stealth Rocks. Bit poorly timed there, mate. I then decide to go for another Swords Dance as he hits me with a high horsepower. Because his attacks all do less than a quarter damage to me, I decide to set up a substitute. Not that it matters though, as my friendship gets in the way and we avoid the attack. I then use a Flame Charge against the Copperaja because I want to get my speed up for the next Pokemon. And just like her predecessor being Rika, she does not stand a chance here. We managed to wipe out every single one of her Pokemon from this point using just Bitter Blades. And with that, we have the return of Larry, except instead of using normal types, he's now switched to the flying type. I set up a sword stance as he manages to help us out by using a sunny day. Dude, we're a fire type. Are you an idiot? He is faster than us, and I get flinched by air slash not once, not twice, but 3 bloody times. My leftovers were helping me get health, but still, that is frustrating. I finally managed to get an attack off, and I decide I'm sick of this. We're going for a substitute. The sun has run out at this point. This means it's going to be safe for me to use a sword stance as he wants that speed up, so he's guaranteed to go for a sunny day. I then decide to flame charge as I want to boost my speed as well, and we one-shot it because we're under the sun. With that speed boost, none of his Pokemon are faster than us, so we can entirely sweep them using just Bitter Blades. And with that, it is now time to finally take on the last Elite Four member, being Hassel with his dragon types. The Noivern's Dragon Pulse does next to no damage to me. And you know what that means? We can get off another Shell Smash White Herb combination. I then decide to go for a nasty plot, but the Noivern does not enjoy that as it hits me with an Air Slash and it crits me. However, unfortunately for him, it's too late. Once I've terrestrialized, my Shadow Ball is going to one-shot every single one of his Pokemon. Not even his Excalibur stands a chance against me. And with that, that does mean we're finally able to take on the champion, being Gita. This is a very underwhelming fight, though. The Espathra goes down to just 2 Torch Songs, and it has lowered my defense twice and knocked me to low HP, but that's not too much of a worry. Both Avalugg and King Gambit do not stand a single chance against my Torch Songs. I can then bring in my Mario once the Veluza comes out, because obviously an Aqua Jet would have finished me off at this point. I can then safely set up some nasty plots as he's not doing much damage to me. Use Recover to get myself on some good health before we carry on. And at this point, I cannot be taken out by any one of her Pokemon. For 1, I'm faster than them all. 2, I've got +6 on my special attack, so I'm gonna one-shot absolutely everything, making it a clean sweep. Nemona then wants to battle, but I'm gonna say not yet, mate. First, we've got to take on Clavel. He's been following us this entire time in a disguise, and now we've got to take him on. I lead Mimikyu and get a Charm off in order to lower this bugger's attack so he can't do too much damage to us, but they just go for a Yawn. I then decide to go for another Charm. I know I'm going to go asleep, but his Foul Play can't touch us because he hasn't broken our disguise yet. Being asleep, I choose to switch into Mario, as obviously the Dream Eater isn't going to touch him because he's not asleep himself. We then both set up a Reflex, mirroring each other in the moves we're doing. I then knock him low with a few Dazzling Gleams. He just keeps trying to yawn me, but my ability makes it so that's not going to work. I then decide to do a load of switching just so I can get rid of all of his yawns. Once he's out of yawns, I can finally start setting up a Shell Smash with Donkey Kong, and I do have the White Herb quick to get rid of them defense drops. And I'd given Donkey Kong Baton Pass. This means I can use that and switch into Bowser, who takes the Foul Play like a champ. Thankfully, the only worry being Houndoom isn't an issue, as we can learn Earth Power and that finishes it off. And unfortunate as it is for the head teacher, that does mean he's done for. Clavel is down. Arven is soloed entirely by Mario because it knows Nasty Plot and can't really take much damage from a Greedent. The only bad thing I did feel about it was the Mabostiff. I didn't want to have to take it down. I do feel sad about that, genuinely. It's the exact same deal with Nemona. I had an air balloon, so he can't go for a ground move against me straight away. Use Stealth Rocks that allowed me to set up, and then I can sweep again with Mario, so we won't go through it. And with all that down, it is now time for us to go into the Great Crater of Paldea. That takes us into the last fight of the game against the AI Turo. Poltergeist gets hit with a fiery dance, but it doesn't even manage to do half. This allows us to set up one last Shell Smash. Iron Moth is gonna go down to a Psychic from there, as we are incredibly powerful. Iron Jugulus then comes out. Now, I know I'm not gonna survive an attack off this thing, and I also can't one-shot it, so we Baton Pass into Mario. Mario does get hit with a Dark Pulse, and I'll tell you what, it does some severe damage. Thankfully, we don't have to worry about taking another one, as I taught us Dazzling Gleam. It is a one-shot on this thing, thanks to the Dark typing. And with that done, it is now time to finally use our last terrestrialization. We want to become a terrestrialized ghost to boost our ghost type attacks. From there, we literally solo his entire team with a Shadow Ball. None of them can withstand the Chi String Man's wrath, therefore we get the win. And that means that we managed to beat a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Violet using only ghost types.